A huge game awaits us on Sunday night. Just like Monday at Lambeau, Sunday night at the Link just feels freaking important. It's a battle between two teams at the top of the conference. They've missed each other in playoffs in recent years, but it still kind of feels like a little bit of a rivalry to me. Maybe it's because Sirianni and Campbell were hired at the same time, and while Dan Campbell and his meathead persona were lauded upon his hiring and then becoming a star on Hard Knocks for his ridiculous speech, Sirianni's allegedly terrible introductory press conference and the whole planting flowers analogy later in the season, these two were kind of held up against each other. Campbell's attitude and look at this other guy. It feels like they were kind of pitted against each other as look at a good hire, look at a bad hire. Look at this dork, look at this big football player. And now we see the two head-to-head in a consequential game. And prove-it games have been Sirianni's specialty. Beating all the NFC playoff teams they've faced this year, going into Baltimore last year, beating the Commies in that rematch and then dismantling them in the NFC title game. Even back in 2023 before everything fell apart, that Buffalo KC gauntlet. Those were huge prove-it games that they passed the test on. And it is rare to see Sirianni's Eagles shrink in the big moments. I am so looking forward to this one on Sunday. Hey, everybody, how you doing? Well, that's good. Welcome to Billadelphia, presented by our friends at Bet Parks. My name is Bill Matz. I'm your director of fun and games for the afternoon. Joining me live in the Xfinity Lounge, it is my esteemed producer and host of the PHLY Phillies program. It is Tyler Zulli.
Dang, man, you got me fired up for Sunday. Dude, I was feeling good already because I think this is a premier matchup. You got me ready to go. I'm excited for this one.
I have this deep down dislike of Dan Campbell that we're going to get into later in the show. I just find him very grating. He drives me insane.
And it's funny too because we'll talk more about their team, but I watch their team and I'm like, yo, Gibbs, I like Gibbs. Yo, Amon Ra, I like Amon Ra.
And I just think he's like a jackass. But we'll get into
all the biting kneecaps thing.
We'll get into it. But first, we got to hit some headlines. Aaron Judge wins AL MVP, and of course, Shohei Ohtani wins the National League Most Valuable Player Award. Came out last night, and I saw this. It was all pretty predictable. I always think the cool thing should be taken more into consideration. Like I remember, who was it? Cabrera, when he had the Triple Crown, and everyone's like, yeah, but actually, Mike Trout's WAR was better. He should have been MVP. Like, yeah, but like the cool thing is the Triple Crown. And to me, like achievements of that nature kind of outweigh the typical way we measure these things. What'd you think of Judge over Cal Raleigh?
Yeah,
I think that was the cool thing.
I talked about it on the Philly show a little bit today. If I had a vote, I would have voted for Aaron Judge.
Okay.
I think when you look at the categories that he led either the American League or baseball in, it's numerous. Not to take away from Cal Raleigh's season because it was an elite level season, the most home runs ever by a catcher, and to do it at that position is valuable. There's no question about it. I think with Judge's season, it was so good. It was a 215 OPS plus. Yeah. 100 is average. He was 115% better than the average player. That's how good. He's basically two average players smushed together. Like, it was an elite level season.
That's kind of what he looks like.
He's a giant.
Aaron Judge, he is like one of the most dangerous hitters like I've ever seen. Just like that fear factor when someone comes to the plate, you're like, yep. And then Ohtani being unanimous. Of course, Schwarber, 23 of 30 second place votes. So he basically ran away. I know this is like a silly thing to think, but whatever league Ohtani is in, there's no chance. Like, there's legitimately no chance for anybody as long as he's pitching. Listen, if he has a year where he wins it and he doesn't even pitch because he had that phenomenal a hitting season, sure.
Like last year?
Yeah, exactly. It just feels like nobody has a chance against a two-way player. Like, they have to create a Shohei Ohtani award, and then the MVP is like, yeah, and everyone else. Like, yes, and Shohei was just simply the most magnificent man alive this season, and the MVP is a totally different award that doesn't measure that.
Yes, the MMA award, the Magnificent Man Alive award.
100%. I would be so down with that. But Schwarber gets 23 of 30 second place votes. That's very cool. You were following this much closer than I, Tyler. He's coming back, right?
God, I hope so.
What the hell is this offense without him?
I was saying the only way you don't is if another team comes in and goes, hey, here's $175 million. And then the Phillies probably go, thanks for everything. We love you. Best of luck. But if it's a range, I think there's a $20 million range as long as they're in that spot, 120 to 140. They're going to offer and try to match. Like, I just think this offense is deficient without him.
Yeah.
And I think they absolutely have no way to replicate him at the current moment.
With he and Bryce Harper, and let's say Bryce Harper isn't an MVP candidate, but gets back to a level of high production. Listen, if he's back to old Bryce Harper, cool. But if Bryce is just a little bit better than he was this past season, and Schwarber is the average of what he's been as a Philly, this offense is simply mediocre. Like, without him, it's just whatever the hell we can squeeze out of Harper, and hopefully a couple of guys have a career year because we don't have any other answers. Now, free agency, like maybe they add trades, all that, but just looking at what they have right now, sure, I guess we can win with pitching until the playoffs when someone has to get a hit at some point.
I think the only justification you could make at that point is if you don't re-sign Schwarber, you have like a handful of players that you could sign, and Pat and I were talking about it today. You would lose draft pick compensation. If you care about that, I don't know who does and who doesn't. But like, if you don't re-sign Schwarber, there either has to be a trade that's being facilitated, or you're going after Kyle Tucker or Pete Alonso. Like, those are your options because you cannot replicate 56 home runs in the aggregate just like this is Moneyball.
No, and that's not a thing that's going to be able to happen. So I'm hoping he's back. Glad he got those MVP votes. He had no chance. It was always going to be unanimous. But hell of a season. All right, and I have a prediction. I saw people saying, yes, Sunday is forever away, and there's a Flyers-Sixers playing before that. I understand. But listen, it's the Birds, and I'm not going to be back till Monday, so, like, got to talk about the big game. However, I have a prediction for tonight's Flyers game. This is a little looking ahead to tonight's PHLY Flyers pregame show where I give out the bets. Well, I am predicting Owen Tippett will score a goal tonight. It has been 10 games. He has not scored in a 10-game goalless drought for Owen Tippett. He's picked up only one assist in that time frame, and it's his only assist of the season. He had 5 goals in the first 6 games. He started out very hot, and now not only is it, okay, he's getting chances, he's hitting posts, they're just not going in for him. Eventually, if shooters keep shooting, like, that's part of it. He's eventually going to score. This guy, 10 games without a goal. I don't expect that to reach 11 or 12. Also, it's a redemption opportunity. It is a big opportunity for Owen Tippett, who's just lackluster attempt to stay on side and really just not even do it, just go offside on the play that would have essentially won the game for the Flyers. Travis Konechny, tip goal, 23 and a half seconds left in regulation to go up 2-1. Nope. Owen Tippett forgot to keep his other foot on the line, on the other side of the line. Doesn't count. This is a redemption opportunity for Tippett. So I got some bets. I'm going to give out some bets ahead of tonight's PHLY Flyers pregame. All of these odds, courtesy of our friends at Bet Parks. Anytime goal, plus 230. To just score at all, plus 230. I'm all over that. First goal of the game. The Flyers have struggled to score early in games. perhaps he wants to make up for basically losing them the game a couple of nights ago. He puts the first one in. That is 12-1. And then the big one to score 2+, 15-1, Tyler. I think it could be a big night for Owen Tippett. I have decided to give him the opportunity. Like, you know what? I was mad, and you do drive us crazy sometimes, Tip. But I feel like this is an opportunity for him. They're going up against the freaking Blues tonight, who stink.
This is such a kind of almost a crossroads for Owen Tippett at this point. I don't expect him to maybe be the player that we saw right before signing the contract extension, the guy that was like playing with his hair on fire. But the numbers haven't changed all that much in terms of total ice time, in terms of shot percentage, in terms of like plus minus. You know, the Flyers haven't been good, but he's been right about net zero or close to it over the last 3 seasons. I just don't know what is transpiring with Tippett recently, or this season for that matter. Like, to me, this is a much better player, a more talented player than a guy who has 6 points in 16 games, which comes out to what, like 0.38, 0.4 points per game? He's a better player than that. Is he a point per game player? Probably not.
No.
But I know there's 16 games. I just don't know what it is.
I see so many raw tools and talent. And it's like, dude, if you could just find some consistency and not... Goal scorers are going to be streaky. It happens to every single one. Nobody scores 82 goals. There's going to be hot streaks. There's going to be cold streaks. But you have to limit how long these cold streaks go, and I think tonight is the perfect night. Like I said, it is going to be the Blues, and on Daily Faceoff, Sam Ersson has been confirmed the Flyers starter. Jordan Binnington's still only listed as likely. Either if it's either Joel Hofer or Jordan Binnington, both have absolutely sucked this year. Binnington, the likely starter, he's off to a horrendous start. .873 save percentage, which is basically the Flyers' backups last season, which were unplayable. .859 in his last 7 games. He's allowed 3 or more goals in 5 of those 7. He's got good career numbers against the Flyers. He was just okay against them last year, though. And Joel Hofer, he's even worse somehow. He's like Alexei Kolosov last season, like an .860, I believe he's around. This is the opportunity, a get-right night for the Flyers offense and an opportunity for Owen Tippett to get on a hot streak. I think I'm going to be betting it tonight, Tyler.
Listen, as you said, at some point it has to change, right? The course has to get corrected at some point. 10, 11, 12, we talked about it with Michkov the other day. Like, you start to stretch those numbers into double digits and you start to press a little bit. And sometimes pressing is good because it plays on you play on the edge of your skates a little bit more. Sometimes pressing is bad because you're trying to do too much. I think that's why we're at the crossroad with Tippett tonight. Like, over the next 3 or 4 games, this could become hey, Owen Tippett scored 3 times in 4 games. Or Owen Tippett has now gone 18 straight games without a goal because he has started to press.
And listen, we saw him last year never really get that hot streak going. He started the season with a better streak than at any point he was on last year. So I thought maybe he was starting to find a little something of that consistency. Was not the case. So we'll see how it plays out. But I feel like tonight is the night for Owen Tippett, and I will be betting, at the very least, that anytime goal. All right, we have to talk some birds on the other side. But first, I got to tell you about BetParks. Whether your favorite team wins or not, there's always another way to win on the BetParks online casino app. They have an amazing selection of slots. We're talking Cleopatra, 88 Fortunes. We're talking slots based on your favorite streaming shows like The Breaking Bad, The Walking Dead, Peaky Blinders, nostalgic favorites like The Goonies, and, it doesn't end there. All the casino classics, blackjack, roulette, craps, poker, baccarat. So many ways to win on the BetParks online casino app. So many ways to turn your downtime into some fun time. And now's the time to get in because new users get up to $1,000 casino bonus back if you're down in the first 24 hours. All you got to do is go to betparks.com, download the app, and enjoy all the action and excitement from the casino at your fingertips. Must be 21 plus and in PA, Jersey, Maryland, or Michigan for BetParks. You love to play. You play to win. You bet. BetParks. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
All right, big weekend of Philly sports ahead. Starts tonight, pro hockey, pro hoops. Then you've got pro hockey tomorrow, followed by the big game of the weekend, pro football on Sunday. And if you want to do it all, you have to do it with Xfinity because it's the ultimate sports destination where you get all your favorite teams and the best games all in one place. No lagging, no buffering, no switching between apps. Just really good service. And the way that you watch becomes next level. It's the perfect fan flex to get all of the action right there in your living room. Plus, there's best picture and sound enhanced with 4K. It's going to feel like you're at the stadium or the arena anyway. You don't have to worry about getting through traffic and battling concessions and missing out on the big play because you can get your drink right from your fridge. And sometimes you can have 4 games going at once because why not? And on top of that, you get real-time notification and live stats right there on your TV. It's the best seat in the house every single time. So next game day, make sure the big fan in your life isn't a big fail. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Xfinity, imagine that.
Welcome back. I'm already very much enjoying reading the quote. I can't wait to say it out loud because I can't stand Dan Campbell. It's time to talk a little bit of Eagles ahead of Sunday night's game. The NFL, listen, I'm all for big personalities and guys like Dan Campbell having jobs and everything. It makes everything more interesting when someone is willing to say something that isn't just like, got to watch the film, time's yours. You know, it's... I'd much prefer a guy like Dan Campbell exist than not. But I just think he's a freaking clown. I really can't stand him. Let's just go back. Let's go back to the famous Hard Knock speech. Here's what I do know. That this team is going to take on the identity of this city. And this city's been down, and it found a way to get up. It's found a way to overcome adversity. So this team's going to build on, we're going to kick you in the teeth, all right? And when you punch us back, we're going to smile at you. And when you knock us down, we're going to get up. And on the way up, we're going to bite a kneecap off. And we're going to stand up, and then it's going to take 2 more shots to knock us down. And on the way up, we're going to take your other kneecap. And we're going to get up, and then it's going to take 3 shots to get us down. And when we do, we're going to take another hunk of you. Before long, we're going to be the last one standing. That's going to be the mentality. First of all, you're taking way too many shots in this fight. You have lost on points. You are not going to get a chance to be the last man standing. The referee's going to end it with all these
some
knockouts.
Rocky-ass fighting right here.
It's really, like, we're going to just bang our head against the wall. These descriptions of cartoon violence are asinine, and they just make me not want to take him seriously at all. We're going to take out our novelty mallets and pound our opponents into the ground like railroad spikes. We're going to paint a brick wall to look like the end zone, so when a running back breaks free, he's flat against it. And when he gets up, his teeth fall out like piano keys. Like, that's what that just sounds. I look at that dude, and I know players respect players, and you have to have a certain amount of meathead mentality to play a violent game. But this is silly. Like, this is Brian Dawkins with all the, doggons and everything. That was a little corny, but at least it wasn't ridiculous. He was just like saying normal things that human beings say. Well, meanwhile, like, Dan Campbell is just sitting there describing an episode of The Roadrunner. Like, I'm baffled by this guy. And I saw a couple of weeks ago the headline on ESPN that was how Dan Campbell's kneecap speech forever changed the NFL and Detroit Lions. And I've been excited for this game to come so I could talk about it ever since. Nick Sirianni says some weird stuff, and he can be immature, certainly. He's not a perfect coach, not a perfect personality, but he does tend to win almost every game. I don't laugh thinking about him, though. Like, I don't sit there and go like, how are you not rolling your eyes? Now, I do think there is an element of my personal distaste for this man because they were hired at the same time, and they've both had similar success until it comes to the postseason. Campbell with Detroit, 45-31-1. He's 2-2 in the playoffs. He lost the NFC title game to the Niners in 2023, and last year lost at home as the number 1 seed to the upstart Washington Commanders. Okay, you've won some regular season games. While Nick Sirianni in Philly, 55-22, 6-3 in the playoffs, 5-0 at home. I don't know, man. I'd probably take the guy not describing cartoon violence who steps up in every big moment, Tyler. That's just how I see it.
I think where you and I diverge is not in terms of, like, if we're playing the Campbell versus Sirianni debate, Sirianni's numbers tell you that he's been more successful in terms of wins, in terms of playoff success, in terms of Super Bowl appearances, in terms of Super Bowl wins. Tells you that he's been more successful each and every time, which is a fair argument to make. I do, however, think about a guy who took a 3-13-1 team, the team that I believe at the one point was 0-9-1 or 0-10-1 maybe even. And if you think about what they've done since, 9-8 the next year, 12-5 the following year, 15-2 the year after, 6-3 this year so far, and in terms of points per game, have ranked 9th, 8th, 1st, and 4th over the last 4 seasons. When you're going to say kind of corny, wacky stuff, because we pointed to Nick Sirianni right before the Detroit game and said, why are we talking about flowers and planting soil and letting it grow and watering it and things? I remember being on the air the morning before and saying,
no, it was a big deal.
That what you just said was so stupid that now you have to beat Detroit.
It was, and go ahead.
And I think we're in this, you're probably in a similar boat where your jargon is silly and you say some silly things, but your track record tells you have gotten a lot of success from a really good roster from an organization that has been a dumpster fire over the last 2 decades. Like I don't have a disdain for him the way that you do. I think it's corny, but I don't hate him.
He just grates me. He really does. And I will say that Flowers thing, it got overblown because that's what we do. It's the Eagles. And we're mad at him. They weren't playing well. And so he says something like that. I will say, however, change one word in that thing. Change it from flower to tree. No one's upset. I really do think it is, again, like the meathead, we're planting flowers out here. If it's okay, a great oak. If it was the redwoods. If we were talking about that, suddenly no one's upset. But he just chose the wrong metaphor and got close. And since then, I feel like he hasn't said too much weird stuff that we can get up in arms about. I just look at what the two have done, and yeah, man, playoffs are small samples and everything, but I don't know, when you're the number 1 seed and lose at home, to a upstart team the way the Commanders were, and they were on a hell of a run, absolutely. And then a week later to get 55 dropped on you, I don't know. Why couldn't you do that to their defense at home on that fast track? We all kind of felt like that was maybe what was in store, and it didn't happen. And I know that Detroit was riddled with injuries last year. Jack Campbell got hurt. Aiden Hutchinson got hurt. Yeah. Aleem McNeil missed time. They missed a lot of their big-time players. And so I understand they were kind of the walking wounded when they got into that game. I get your expectation of you were the 1 seed, you have the home field advantage, you should have won this game, and you did not. There is no question that is a knock. But I think if we're telling the complete story, sure, they've won substantially more than they've lost in the last 3 years. He has had a ton of success. There's absolutely no doubt, especially if you are grading on it's the freaking Detroit Lions curve. They couldn't do it with Matthew Stafford, and Megatron together. They couldn't. There was a point where we looked at Kevin Stefanski, because the Browns are the same way. We looked at Kevin Stefanski, we're like, oh my God, is this the best coach ever? Yeah, they made the playoffs? They beat the Steelers? I guess he's in the Hall of Fame. We absolutely do get that. We talked about it before the Broncos game when we were talking about Sean Payton. If it's not the Saints, is he looked at the same? He had a great run, but is it as successful as it really looks when you actually go season by season? Well, for the Saints it is. All right, we're going to talk a little bit more about this and share our predictions on the other side. But first, time to tell you about Crooked Tea, baby. Everybody's got their favorite hard tea, but have you ever turned the can around to read what's actually in your hard tea of choice? Chances are you can't, because most won't tell you, and while others hide what's inside, Crooked Tea brags about it, because Crooked Tea brews real USDA organic tea for real flavor with 0 sugar. There's no fake junk hiding behind the label. What you see is what you drink. So next time you're at the store, flip the can. If you can't find the ingredients, put it back on the shelf and just grab yourself a Crooked Tea, 0 sugar, real tea, fully transparent. You know it, Philly. You recognize real, so why drink fake stuff? Crooked Tea, the only thing better, is a strip sack in the Super Bowl. Visit crookedtea.com to find a store near you. All right, let me tell you about our friends over at TrueMark, because as we get into the holiday season, you know what that means. It means that we're thinking about spending money on the ones that we love. And if you're thinking about
financial literacy for your kids so they know what it means to spend $1 and to give. TrueMark comes into play with the Greenlight app. It's an all-in-one money app and a debit card that's made just for families. It helps your kids learn to spend wisely, save for what matters, and build smart money habits, all while you're able to stay in control and call the plays. The best part is, if you're a TrueMark Financial Credit Union member, you get a free custom card with the free Greenlight subscription, a $79.99 value. And if you're not a member yet, that's not a problem. You can open an account online or at any of TrueMark's 24 branch locations and score this exclusive offer as well. With Greenlight, you'll get real-time spending alerts, easy control, an instant on-off switch for your kid's card. Plus, your kids have the ability to learn what it means to save $1, to spend $1. You can help manage their chores and allowance right there on the app, and it makes the holiday season a win. So head on over to TrueMark.com/Greenlight for all of the details and get started today.
All right, it is prediction time, Tyler. I don't know if we're going to get to discuss the green on green. Do we know what they're wearing yet? Is it going to be green on green? Because there was some.
I don't.
I haven't seen it. I was just curious.
That was an accidental button slip.
I don't know if we're going to have time, but if they are wearing the green on green, I do love it. But
there you go.
It's
got
to be a day
since
game.
We're talking about it.
Yeah, there's the Eagles. I guess every week on Twitter are like, what combination do you think we're wearing? And like the graphic kind of showed green pants with a green jersey. So people were wondering if they're actually going to bring back that green on green look. I like that look a lot, but it has to be a day game. I feel like in the dark, it doesn't look nearly as good. It's kind of weird looking. But you know my thoughts on football jerseys. Only the ugly ones are good because they're all kind of just boring. And that is an objectively ugly look.
Yeah, it's bad. It's real bad.
All right, let's get to the predictions, Tyler. The Eagles are 2.5-point favorites against the Lions this week, and I am going to take them to cover. I have the Eagles 24, the Lions 21. The Lions have put up a ton of points. Weeks 2 to 5, they averaged 40 points. They dropped 44 last week. They had a little lull there in the middle against KC, Tampa, and Minnesota, but they're one of the highest scoring teams in the league. I just feel like I trust Vic Fangio enough to keep this under 24. That is kind of the goal for me, and that's why I'm thinking all the pressure is on the offense this week. The offense absolutely has to come through. You were before we started, you were talking about the Lions' defense, where they're susceptible. They give up a ton of touchdown passes. They play a lot of man, which Jalen has torched this year. I think the key, though, Jalen has to run.
Okay.
Jalen has to run some for this offense to get back to what it needs to be. The threat of it, just keeping that in the back of the defense's mind, opens up holes for Saquon. It opens up holes in the back end for the receivers. I think it is all about, does he need to go for 150 yards? No. He doesn't need to run 20 times. There just has to be that threat, and I think the Eagles can put up 24 and win this game because of Vic Fangio and playing a little keep away. Getting Saquon going, huge. Keeping that offense off the field, huge. I think it starts with Jalen's legs.
Yeah, so oftentimes when the team you cover, the team you root for is good, a lot of times you and I are going to have agreements in terms of who we're selecting. This week is not one of them. I'm taking the Lions this week.
You have the Lions this week, 27-21. This was a tough one for me, just because they are going to have to score some. Yeah, I very much trust Vic Fangio to come up with something that can slow down a Jared Goff-led offense. Not that worried about it. But they are going to score. It's not going to be 7 points again. Like, you're not going to shut them out like Kansas City in the Super Bowl.
The thing we laud about Jalen Hurts is a fair comparison to say to Jared Goff. He protects the football. He has 20 touchdowns to 3 interceptions this year. His QBR is 68.2. His completion percentage 74%. He's not going to make throws that put the ball in jeopardy. He's not going to make throws that put the drive in jeopardy. And so I think you have to be opportunistic when that 1 or 2 bad throws occur. If you do, you win this game. If you don't, I think that the Lions offense does produce enough. And I know that there's the numbers about playing in the cold versus indoors, playing outdoors versus indoors. And I understand that Vic Fangio has the ability to scheme up. And can the Eagles win this game? Without question. They can beat anybody at any time. I think short week, not entirely sure how the O-line is going to fare with depth and with injuries and things like that. Does Cam Jurgens play? How is Lane Johnson affected by the ankle? I think for the last 2 weeks, I was between them winning one of these two games. I ended up picking them to beat Green Bay. I do think they lose to the Lions this weekend.
Listen, this is not going to – if this is a 48-0 blowout for the Eagles, I will be absolutely shocked by that. I do think this is going to be a tough game. I just look at what this team has accomplished in these sorts of games, and outside of the game where everything fell apart, that regular season game where Dom got suspended against the Niners after the whole offseason of chirping and them complaining about losing their quarterbacks as if like it happened by magic and not, because the Eagles were better. But like that game where it all fell apart, that's like the only one I can really point to where I'm like, yeah, they did not answer the bell. It's going to be tough. They have trouble scoring right now. The offense is not clicking. I just feel like this is an opportunity where Jalen comes up to the podium and he and AJ celebrate a couple touchdowns, and we kind of see we are the class of the NFC.
Yeah, I think that if AJ Brown scores once, I'm not even asking for multiplicity or 100 yards. If AJ Brown scores in this game, they're winning the football game. I think it is usually that simple at this point. And again, they've given up 18 passing touchdowns. Now, some of that has come in garbage time because they do score a lot of points and teams are passing to get back into the game. But 18 passing touchdowns over the course of these 10 weeks or whatever it's been is not nothing. It's basically 2 touchdowns a game. They're 6-3. They've given up 18 passing touchdowns. I think this is a game that Jalen Hurts can get his through the air. I hope that is the case. If this is a high-scoring game, I think it favors Detroit.
Yeah, that's why, 24-21 is very, if the final in this one is 34-24, it's going to be in favor of the Lions.
Yes.
Very much believe
If
that.
it's 21-17, the Eagles probably won that.
Yeah,
game.
absolutely. And this is my final point, and we'll get out of here, Tyler, is it's a plea to Kevin Patullo. You cannot coach scared in this game. The Eagles lead the league in 3-and-outs. And given the weapons, you know the names. My God, Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, Devontae, A.J. Brown, Dallas Goedert. That simply cannot be. You can't be giving up, it's 3rd and 8. I guess we have to give up. Here's Will Shipley on a draw for 3. That stuff isn't going to fly because Dan Campbell and that team, they take chances. There will be a trick play in this game. That is something you have to look out for. And keeping that offense off the field, elongating drives, holding the ball, time of possession, going to be very important. Getting AJ involved early, scheming something up, making it a priority to take a couple of shots, and keeping that offense off the field, all huge. That's why I think Jalen has to run to extend drives. And Saquon, I know the O-line's banged up. I know when you touch the ball 600 times, the next season probably ain't going to be that great. But you have to find a way, on that one play, he made against the Packers, the long pass play, to just be better than the guy in front of you. You are Saquon Barkley, and they are not. Therefore, you have the advantage. Win a couple of times to make those big plays. The big players and Kevin Patullo not being scared. That's what this comes down to for me. The offense has the talent to keep up with Detroit. Not a question in my mind. But if it's 3rd and 8, first drive of the second quarter from your own 35, and all right, here's Shipley for 3. I guess we're punting. That sends the message that you are afraid of a team that you shouldn't be because you're better. You know how I know you're better? You've been consistently better the entire time these two teams have been matched up in the NFC. But the scared coaching has to come to an end this week, Tyler.
I think it's a fair point. I think that you have seen now a half of season's worth of track record to tell you that you have seen quite a few 3-and-outs, quite a few high percentage drives, and abruptly, especially after turnovers or forced punts. I do understand that is something of concern. I think as the season progresses, it gets more and more concerning because you should be kind of figuring the things out. But as we said on Tuesday after the game, at some point, stacking wins matters more than anything else.
Absolutely. And that's what, it's not these complaints, they only scored 10 against Green Bay, because it's not about Green Bay, it's about January and February. Those are the things that concern me, and 10 points in any of those games will not be enough. I don't care how good this defense is. If they can bring Reggie White back to life and put him in his prime, 10 points will still not be enough for this team to win playoff games. I need this offense to get going. I think it starts with Jalen running and Kevin Patullo kind of growing a set. All right. That is all the time we have for you on Billadelphia today. Thank you all for listening. Thank you for hanging out. If you haven't already, you got to hit that subscribe button. Follow us right here on the YouTube page. We'll be back on Monday to talk about this game and everything going on in Philly sports. So make sure you're tuned in for that. Follow me on Billadelphia at Billadelphia PHLY on Twitter, and follow the podcast. Just search Billadelphia. That's it. I am Bill Matz. Thank you very much to Tyler Zulli. Till Monday, be excellent to each other.
We all silly like the mayor.